The fourth of the big four mindsets that hinder our breakthrough to living the life that we were created for is powerlessness. From a young age, we learn what standards and expectations we must live up to and what roles we must play in our families. And we carry those out throughout our lives. We perform, we people please to gain approval and acceptance, and we live on autopilot in the same patterns that we've always known. We do what comes easy and familiar. We don't ever stop to examine where those patterns are leading us. Many of us never learned how to take ownership of our choices and our decisions. And in our painful experiences, disappointment and delay discourage us. And over time, we develop this defeated mindset and we operate out of it. We believe, I can't have or I can't do what I want. I can't be myself. I have to keep doing this thing because if I don't, then there'll be retribution of some kind. I have to stay in this relationship because I'm stuck. We believe that we're powerless to change anything, even though we're struggling and we're miserable. And we feel stuck, but we stay there. During my personal coaching journey, I heard many of these same statements come out of my mouth all the time. And I didn't feel like I could make that change. I couldn't do what I really wanted to do. I had to keep doing what others expected of me. I couldn't say what I really thought or how I really felt. And if I did, there was going to be retribution of some sort. And so I just stayed stuck. And we keep ourselves stuck. No one else keeps us stuck. But as long as I believed those lies, I lived in frustration and desperation. But soon I realized that I had felt powerless for as long as I could remember. It seemed like everybody else was much more powerful than me. They could make changes and choices for themselves. They could do what was best for them. And living with this belief was scary and overwhelming because I felt like a prisoner in my own life, in my powerlessness. So are you living powerlessly, telling yourself that I can't and it won't and I have to? How is powerlessness keeping you imprisoned in a life of existence that you don't really want to be living? What are you tolerating that you're not really choosing? But if we're tolerating it, we're really choosing it, right? Be intentional instead of reactive. How will you shift into your most powerful self? How can you shift in your most powerful self and think those powerful thoughts and begin to make powerful decisions in your life to create the change that you want? Because unfortunately, no one else can do it for you. You've got to decide to take that step yourself. And eventually, my conviction turned into hope. And if I start, this is what I kept thinking, if I start thinking and living like the powerful warrior that I am, then what would that look like? Well, that would mean that I would gain clarity about what I really wanted and what mattered most to me, and I would start living in alignment with it. And then I could live out the passion and the purpose that God wired in me and stop living for the acceptance and the approval of others and trying to achieve and perform my way into enoughness. I could disappoint people. I didn't have to live for their acceptance. I could decide when I wanted to say yes and no to things. I could set healthy boundaries for myself. I could do more of what I love and less of what I didn't like. I didn't have to keep tolerating what wasn't best for me. And this realization changed my life. And I was empowered by it. And so I repented from a life of powerlessness. I turned away from it. And to do that, we've got to identify the lies that we believe about it and break agreement with them. And as I did, it was clear how those lies had kept me stuck for far too long. It was a huge step towards freedom. And not only did I change my mindset, but I began to take courageous action to make more decisions that aligned with my passions and my priorities and my purpose. And little by little, I took back my life. I owned it. We are most powerful when we live our truth and living out of our most authentic selves and when we're honoring our hearts. When we don't feel powerful, it's because we're living or we're believing a lie about ourselves about God or about what's available to us or not. And it steals the power of who God created us to be. And it's a lie. It's just not true. But we're buying it. Along the way, we have disconnected from the power of our inner warrior. Yet when we are empowered with truth of who we really are, and we're reminded of that, our inner warrior begins to awaken. And then that inner warrior arises into his or her greatness. And we can begin to live bravely, freely, and authentically. And we can thrive in that life of freedom and fullness that is already ours. We just have to step into it and open and embrace it.